What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 111, and I am Adam Choit. To follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram, and on YouTube, just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. If you're watching, you are already there, so please be sure to subscribe. I appreciate that support. I'm on Instagram or Twitter at Adam Choit if you want to follow me. Please subscribe to the show on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. I'll put out an audio episode of this live stream, of course, soon after it's recorded. TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com, that's my new domain, forwards to my link tree with everything for this show, all the related links. AdamChoit.com, that's my personal stuff. You can find my other podcast, my short film. All the other projects that I'm working on can be found there. But for today's episode of this show, we're going to recap Tedeschi Trucks band's show. Was that last night, March 25th, I believe? All the time is flying here. March 25th in Asheville, North Carolina. I believe it's the ExploreAsheville.com arena, or is it the Harrah's Cherokee Center? We're going to find out the answer to that mystery shortly by bringing on past guests of this show, Brandon Renfro and David Flamm. And Larry James, also past guest of the show, another hardcore fan of the band, of course, as well, is going to be joining us. So let's just get started with the recap. Here's David and Brandon. What's up, guys?
Hey, man.
I guess it's good afternoon for you on the West Coast, huh?
For me, 4:06, and with the daylight savings or whatever, it's not getting dark really until a few minutes after 7. So, yeah, I just ate a late lunch. You guys are doing good, though?
Doing good.
Yeah, yesterday sounds like it was awesome. The audio just was somewhat. I should give credit to whoever just posted that, actually, of the show last night. Do we know who that was?
I'm not sure. I saw.
I don't know. Don't know who it was. I think
George Hodges Jr.
Okay.
Well, if you're listening and or watching George Hodges Jr., you're welcome to join the conversation, and thank you for the audio for sure. I started digging in. I got up to the third song of the. It was 2 sets, right?
Yes.
An evening with. So I got through song 3, I Am the Moon. It was in the middle of that one, so I'm looking forward to digging in. Why don't you guys tell me about your journeys to the venue and where you came in from and those details. We'll start with Brandon.
Before we start,
Sure.
I really enjoyed your last podcast with Alan Paul.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I saw you in the chat.
He's a mountain of information. I love listening to him. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun, and I have to tell him he's welcome on anytime he's got a new book or goes to a TTB show or has anything he wants to talk about. Like he was, he was talking about all those tapes, those lost interviews which I guess I didn't know about. So I'm sure a lot of people probably didn't know about, like that Kirk West has all these interviews, hours and hours and hours of interviews with Greg and Butch and other Allman Brothers band members.
To hear those.
Yeah, they're good. They just turn it into like some kind of like audio docu series, I guess is what it would be.
That would be great.
I'll just play him. I'll play him and I'll react to him.
Yeah.
No, but you could do something really great, a series, like a really long form series or something with that. That's exciting. Tell me about getting to, what the hell is this called? Is it Harrah's Cherokee Center, or is it the ExploreAsheville.com arena? Where am I?
It was a Thomas Wolfe Auditorium is what they used to call it, and now it's the Cherokee Harrah's Auditorium. But yeah, this was my 4th show in a month, and I don't know that many people can say they've seen a band 4 times in a month and not get a little bit bored with seeing them. I mean, you think about the great bands out there, like maybe Journey or the Eagles. I don't think you could see them 4 times and not be bored. But This was my fourth show this month, and they were even better. I mean, it was incredible. Even though I did hear a couple songs repeated, they were awesome. I mean, they were different. Every night was different.
Yeah, no, I believe that I'm right there with you because, like, yeah, even though if there's some repeats, no two versions are the same, and there's things that they do differently, and just like you said, getting better. That's the new thing. What's new about them? Oh, they're better now. Like it's crazy.
And I took a friend of mine. He was a first timer, first time he'd ever seen him, and he's a really seasoned musician. He plays trumpet and plays guitar and bass and pretty much everything. But he knows what's up in the music world. And he told me last night, he was like, "This is the best show I've ever seen." And I called him again today, because we were on a musical high last night, and today he was like, "Dude, I just can't believe how good they are." He was just floored.
Yeah, I'm the bringing Larry. He's here. Larry James. There he is.
Wait. How's
I
it going,
see you.
guys?
Good.
Larry, long time no see, Larry.
I know. I'm drinking water now.
I hear it seems like a lot of people are tired.
Oh, yes. If you've never been to Asheville, it's the beer mecca of the Southeast.
I was learning. I think that was before we started hit record. That's what you guys were talking about. There's so many things we could dig into. Where did you drive in from, Brandon? Did you say?
I live in Kingsport, Tennessee, and it takes me about an hour to get to Asheville.
And David, what about you? You came from Atlanta,
Yeah,
so how
from Atlanta? Yeah, Adam. I guess I was so excited I couldn't sleep, even though it was my 8th show this year. I got up at 4 a.m. We got out of here at 7 a.m. and didn't go to bed. Didn't hit the pillow in the hotel till 1 a.m. So it was a 23-hour day yesterday, and well worth it. And as Larry said, I mean the beer. My kids are big beer drinkers, and it's the mecca. I was told by my son-in-law I had to go to Sierra Nevada Brewery, and I described it as the Disney World for beer drinkers.
It really is.
The venue itself, the arena, or
this brewery. There must be, I don't know, Larry. No, there's got to be over 50 breweries in Asheville.
Oh, yeah.
And this is one of the biggest ones. I mean, there must have been, I don't know, 1,500 cars in the parking lot. I mean, it's just a massive facility, massive. Yeah. And then Larry and I, we met downtown at another small Twin Leaf Brewing. I mean, I had about 4 of them yesterday, before the show. And Larry and I connected at Twin Leaf Brewing right before the show, and then we kind of headed up and walked in together.
Right. He actually stopped me on the street beforehand. Saw me out of the blue. We were walking, and me being in a daze from the night before, drinking a lot of beer, and I heard my name. It was like, who would know me on the streets of Asheville? And there's Dave and Ann, and just popping up. All thanks to you, Adam.
Me? Oh, this was this morning.
This is the morning. Well, this is the afternoon before the show.
The afternoon before the show. And where did you come in from for the show?
I came in from Summerville, South Carolina, which is about a 3.5-hour, 4-hour drive.
Damn. So we took some long drives for this one, you and David for sure.
Well, TTB, they've somehow forgotten that South Carolina is part of the Southeast, and they haven't played there since 2021, which I know I'm crying a river to you West Coast folks, but it seems a little frustrating when they've got 3 or 4 nights in Georgia, 3 or 4 nights in North Carolina, and they just skip our state. So Tennessee gets about 4 or 6 shows a year, so we're jealous, but we'll make the trek. It's
they've done Asheville. They've done Asheville before though, because I remember there's previous tapes. I remember listening to them at Asheville.
Yeah, I think.
But that's North Carolina, Adam. and Larry lives in South Carolina.
Right.
You know, I don't know if I guess that's the junior Carolina state. I don't know.
Oh,
Oh
well,
boy.
I don't know about that. I believe we succeeded first, but
Yeah,
that's not too proud on.
Who did you go to the show with, or bring, or meet, or anyone, if anyone?
It was an amazing time. My wife and I dropped the children off with the grandparents, and we left Friday morning. They had a day off from school on Friday, and we headed up to Asheville by midday, and we had all weekend, just my wife and I, touring breweries and going to see galleries and antique stores and eating and drinking. And then the pinnacle was the TTB show. It was a fantastic weekend. The weather was 80 degrees and not a cloud in the sky both days. I mean, it was beautiful.
Very cool. Why don't you guys tell me about getting to the venue? The venue, it sounds like there's like breweries surrounding it.
Yeah. Well, Asheville, I mean, in itself is a historic town. There's lots of shops and restaurants, and there's Promenade right there just south of the venue along, I guess it's not Broadway. What's the street, guys? What's the street that the venue's on?
Haywood.
Yeah, I think it's Haywood.
Street, but there's breweries all around town, and a lot of them downtown in walking distance of the venue. So
yeah,
it's just, I mean, there's such a vibe in that town, and again, it's like it's this mecca for all the young people to come drink beer. I mean, they're every brewery, I mean, it's just slammed with people, just packed with young people drinking all kinds of beers I've never heard of,
Right. So I guess there's about probably 5,000-6,000 people there for the show, but Adam, there was probably an additional 10,000 people just going to Asheville for the weekend. So all the restaurants and bars were full. The shops were full. There were people walking up and down the street. There's a lot of street vendors and music guys on the street, and it just had a great vibe all weekend. It was sunny. People were happy that it was warm weather. It's just springtime in the South is the best. So
yeah, it sounds like a whole vibe. What about the venue? The venue itself, when you guys are kind of entered it, what was the feel of the place?
Well, Adam, the venue that it's in is Brandon said, there's next to it, there's a theater, the Thomas Wolfe Auditorium Theater, where they played before, and this is the bigger facility that's attached to it, and it's actually the room where Warren Haynes holds his Christmas jam every year.
Yeah.
That's the room that so it's kind of like a small auditorium, almost like a basketball gym. So they have reserved seating on the floor, and then there's a little bit of a shelf all around on the sides. So it was probably holding I don't know, maybe 7,500, maybe, guys.
Yeah, I think capacity is about that, and
7,200. Yeah, I got it.
Is that what? Okay, yeah, something like it. It was pretty darn full. I mean, they packed them in a pretty good crowd.
Oh yeah, it was packed.
It reminds me of like these small hockey arenas. Maybe Adam, you might be familiar with.
Yeah.
Minor league hockey. You got your first tier and your second tier. And the first tier is kind of bleacher seats that can be pushed in. And then the floor, it's got, I don't know. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So
that's it.
That's it. Yep. So
I watched a bunch of basketball in that room.
I was looking into this. I think this might have been the biggest show so far, like capacity wise. I think the one in Pennsylvania had close to the numbers, but I don't think they had that kind of crowd.
Yeah, I've been pulling up the capacities of various venues when I have these conversations, and 7,200, at least off the top of my head, is definitely on the larger side for where they tend to play.
Yeah,
that place was packed last night. There wasn't an empty seat that I saw.
Right, I agree with that, and you could hear it in the crowd when the first solo drops, and first couple of songs, it was loud. The people were into it. So mixed crowd.
Does it sound? I was gonna ask. Does it sound like kind of reverberate in a different way? Because it's almost more of like an arena versus like a theater setup.
The sound was okay. I was paying attention to that. The sound was okay. It was good.
I would agree, but I thought the quality of the sound was incredible.
Yeah,
for a bigger room. I thought it was great.
me
Yeah,
too.
I agree. I think I was on the left-hand side and right, pretty much below the first stack, and it sounded great to me. I didn't have any complaints, no echo that I heard. So,
Should we get into the set lists?
sure.
Let's do it.
Larry, were you going to say something else before? Or am I losing my mind? Yeah, you had something
No,
on the tip
no, I didn't have anything on the tip of my mind, and
here.
other than the fact that it was. I guess just it's an old venue. I've been there, probably going to see shows there for 20 years, so it's been around for a long time.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Well,
have you guys have y'all
I'm
seen the
That's
Warnames
there.
Christmas Jam there?
Yeah,
Yes, I've been to two of the Christmas jams there. 2016, and TTB played.
Okay.
Guested, was part of the lineup, and then I think I was there again in 2018. We were there, and it snowed. It was hard for us to get there from Atlanta to Asheville. It's amongst the mountains. I mean, it's just a gorgeous town setting. I mean, the drive in, especially from Atlanta. I mean, when you get up into North Georgia, into Western Carolina, I mean, the drive is just spectacular.
Yeah, that drive from Atlanta is beautiful. I've done it before.
It is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that sounds like a cool spot and a cool just the whole vibe is the word you guys keep
It is.
using for this.
And I will say, I know we didn't have the fortune to run into them, but there were definitely some fans posting pictures of Derek and Susan out and about on the town.
I saw
Saturday morning.
some.
Yeah, before the show. So they were digging the vibe of Asheville as well. So
yeah, you could tell they were out and about. So
yeah.
Okay, well, for the first set one is Here My Dear, Fall In, I Am the Moon, Circles Around the Sun, Passaquan, all of Crescent, and then Just Won't Burn and I Can't Make You Love Me. Yeah, we can go song by song or just what jumps out at you guys. It's
I would
casual,
say,
of course.
I would say pretty standard for this year's shows. Pretty standard for me. Of I Am the Moon, the one that to me stands out to me right now is Fall In. I just think that one.
So
It just I think I mentioned that we talked before, but I don't know, that one just does it to me. I don't know why, but I love that one. Love it.
I feel I saw it in the summertime in Charlotte, and I don't remember. And I need to go back and listen, but I don't remember Derek having two solos in Fall In. And now, and last night he did, and may have been just an ebb in between the long solo, but I really feel like that song has evolved a lot more than just moving on from embellished studio version. It's more than just the horns at the end now too. It's got definitely a jam pocket in the middle of it. So
I think they embellished where they were. I mean, Asheville is a music town. It's a hippie town, so to speak. And I think they took that, like you said, there wasn't two solos when you saw them, Larry, but like last night I think they embellished that with almost the whole show. They just embellished the area of everyone wanted that. Everyone was openly, that they were okay with the jams and
right. Yeah, I wonder what the ratio of people were hearing this for the first time. We're always curious about that.
Well, Larry, funny you mentioned that. At intermission, I went over and saw one of my buddies from the Atlanta area, and he introduced me to a gal that he was friends with. They were singing for the first time in a while, and they had not seen I Am the Moon, and she just was over the top. She could not stop talking about it. So I know I've seen it a bunch. It's always awesome, but for someone that was catching it for the first time, just blown away. I mean, again, the sound, the quality, I mean, they've I think they've dialed in the new music for sure.
Yeah, it's flawless execution when it comes to this. I mean, I could just be speculating here, but I think the Crescent is to them something that they're more comfortable with performing as one chunk, and they've done it so many times now. It's a go-to. It's a comfort level. I was a little surprised, like David, they just played these songs and just did this whole set a couple shows ago, so it wasn't like you know unique in any realm. But I think honestly, the execution was perfect. I felt like last time I saw it live in summertime, it wasn't played the same. I felt like the summertime we're just releasing this new music. We're going to go through the motions of the what it is to play them live. Now we're seeing them live plus a little bit of meat, and they are definitely interweaving jams in between songs, and it's happening more naturally, I guess you can say.
Yeah, it's like they're falling back on it in a sense because, like you were saying, it's comfortable, but it seems like they have the mentality. It's like they're super excited to explore new things with it and just make it just like better, for lack of a better word. Like
Right.
take it to the new levels with the execution, like you're saying. So even though it's not a surprising or an unusual set list, even for fans like yourselves who've heard it perhaps multiple times and multiple times even live, it's like they're so in the moment playing it. You're still so in the moment as a fan because each song on this list is you're going to hear something new and hear a surprise or just a precision that's just somehow incrementally different or better or unique
Yeah.
to a previous version. And Fall In, like you're saying, they just keep expanding on it and you think it's over, but it just keeps going. But it's done in these subtle, organic ways where it doesn't feel like it's, hey, we're gonna jam now. Let's extend the song because it's the thing to do. It's like, no, this is like just so it's also natural.
Right. And I mean, I, when I saw them in Charlotte again, they did not play Circles Around the Sun. So this was my first time seeing that, and I was pretty excited about it. And that went on its own little journey for a little while. I don't know if y'all noticed, Susan left the stage like kind of towards the end of the song. I guess that's because her role in Passaquan is no longer. I mean, she didn't have a role in that song, so I guess as the jam kind of winds down, she leaves the stage, and I found that interesting to watch her take off, and then they just kind of brought the jam back into this transition into Passaquan, which I thought was really cool. Which again, I didn't see that last time, so to me, this is very all unique. So
I think also the crowd, it's how each crowd receives it, a little differently. And I mean, I just thought the vibe in the building with the crowd last night was excellent. I guess, I don't know, Saturday night is a hippie town. People have been enjoying good weather and beer during the day. It was, I mean, I saw people up dancing, people standing, some people sitting. Looked like everybody was getting along, whether they were, whether they were sitting or standing, and just I thought the energy in the room was great. Saw a lot of smiles from Derek and Susan throughout the show. I think they were, they were jazzed by the energy in the room, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like the perfect storm for an amazing experience and like the again a vibe of like you're saying the hippie town, just people who are excited to see the band who've traveled from a far distance. So you're gonna just get like hardcore fans, of course, and the band wants to have this kind of vibe. It's like this. It's what they, like you're saying, the smiles, what they enjoy the most. So it's like the perfect storm for an
And
amazing
you had a
experience.
Saturday, Adam, so people didn't have to work during the day. I mean, I know a number of people that, traveled to be there, and even the locals. So everybody was out, having a good day. And just to top it off, with an 8 o'clock show and we get a little later into the show, and I give you a few examples of kind of how I think that kind of played out in what they did. But as Larry said, Susan doesn't have a role in Passaquan, but whatever she does during that break, the energy that she brought to the stage for those last two songs, which are all her.
Yeah.
And she absolutely just knocked both of those out of the park. And again, she's been doing both of those, a good bit on the tour. So again, it's not like it was something that most of us haven't seen, but the smile and energy she brought to both those songs was so enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I was a little bit, worried that the band would be tired. I mean, 5 shows in 4 states in 5 days or whatever, 4 shows in 5 days and 4 states. That's a lot.
I can't keep up recapping them, and they're playing them and traveling to them. It's like I couldn't do Ohio. I missed Ohio. I missed New Jersey, but like they're actually doing it.
Well, if anyone's on TTV tour, they're insane. Let's just put it that way. I don't know how you could go from show to show with this band. They don't make it easy. You must have to travel to the night.
Got to give a shout out to their crew as well.
Yeah,
I mean those folks are breaking it down every day and setting it up. I mean, oh my God. I mean,
it's funny. I on my way home today, I have Sirius in my car and I'm listening through it. And I'm shuffling through the stations, and I put on the Bridge, which is a 70s soft rock station, just to mill in my mind. And the first song was the Jackson Browne song, Load In.
The Loadout, yeah.
The Loadout, yeah. And I was like, this one's for Bobby and the rest of the crew, So all I could think about was them, breaking it down, setting it back up. But I think they got a couple of days off now, so they're probably enjoying it.
They're in Durham tonight.
Is it tonight?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. I thought it was tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah. I've been trying to schedule the streams on the band's days off. That just seems like a logical thing to do. Yeah, no, the 28th in Durham. Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday,
Oh,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
Then Savannah in Wednesday. And
I'll
then
be there.
Chicago on the weekend. We'll see what I can put together this week. Chicago, I'm definitely doing a recap for sure. Chicago round 2. But I see the method to the madness with this set list and why it's such a great thing. You get your Albany jam with Derek and a select few of the instrumentalists, and then you get Susan, you get Tedeschi, you get the Tedeschi of the Tedeschi trucks, and it's just a great balance. There's always a great balance in some of the set lists. I mean, we all nitpick or have suggestions and ideas and thoughts and analyzation, but for the most part, I think there's balance is definitely something that's always a big thing in the set lists.
It's like David said, it's Saturday night. You're on the I Am the Moon tour, and you got the largest capacity crowd you played to this whole spring, 8,000 people. You're going to play your best money, which you got, which is Crescent. That's the intro. And I mean, many people argue that's the best album out of the 4. So, it also makes a wonderful suite of music if you put it all together. So. And then
go on.
I was just going to say, just for then Susan turning the dial up 3 times with her solo and Just Won't Burn. It was incredible. And then just kind of sing a beautiful melody to send everyone out on the first set with Bonnie Raitt.
Yeah, no, that is great. I wonder how often, when they decide they're going to play Passaquan, because that could be the first song that they just, is it a Passaquan night or is it not a Passaquan night? And then if they do decide to play Passaquan, it's like, all right, let's just do all of Crescent then. How often does that make the decision?
Right.
Yeah, you wanted to say more about I Can't Make You Love Me. I'm looking at everything.
I'm waiting for you to say, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Oh, yeah, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yeah.
I haven't actually listened to that. Like I was saying, only got to I Am the Moon. I have to sometimes save the I Can't Make You Love Me. I'm not ready to commit to that. I have to be a little bit, unless I'm listening to the whole thing on a drive, straight going to listen to the whole show straight through or something like that. Sometimes I need to save the I Can't Make You Love. I'm not ready to go there. It's
an impressive way to end a first set. It's not a rocker. I mean, it's eloquent in the way that she delivers it with Gabe on piano and her. I mean, I wasn't fortunate enough to see Kofi and her do any solo work like that in the shows I saw during that time period. So it was really a nice treat for me to see that. Not to mention I'm a big Bonnie Raitt fan, and we're all celebrating Bonnie from her work, her awards from the Grammys. So I think that's fantastic to keep her relative and, you know, bring her music forward like that. So, and my wife loved it. She's a big Bonnie Raitt fan, and I turned her over to look at her, and she's singing along, and that made me happy because she didn't know what to do during Passaquan. I was like, just hang in there. It's 22 minutes. You can make it through.
But just to think about those last 4 songs, looking at Circles, Passaquan, Just Won't Burn, and I Can't Make You Love Me, like you get, that is such a smorgasbord of different lineups and configurations, and you really get really a sampling, I think, of just everything, or not everything, but like a great deal of combinations just in those last 4 songs. Like Circles, I think is all 12. Passaquan is no horns and no vocals, obviously. Just Won't Burn, I think is all 12. I think.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. And I Can't Make You Love Me is just Gabe and Susan. So just like you get such a diverse, you know, collection of combinations. And that's one of my favorite things is to see those different combinations, and it excites different people. People, you know, everyone it's always special when it's you know, it's less people but they don't overuse that and overdo it, whether it's just Susan and Derek on acoustic or Gabe and Susan, or just they used to do or haven't done in a while with Color of the Blues, which is Susan strumming her electric guitar, her Fender with Mike, Mark, and Alicia.
Oh, I love that when you bring the 3 of them up front.
Right.
Oh,
they haven't done that.
Oh my God, that definitely. You talk about I'm not crying. Oh my gosh, that one always did it to me. And again, it wasn't done that often, but oh my gosh.
Right, I got to see that one live. I think I think it was a San Diego show. I just happened, because it's so memorable when they do stuff like that. And I guess you wouldn't even, if they did that again, you wouldn't necessarily need to even have Gabe as part of that, because he, you know, he's getting his own shine throughout the show for sure too.
For sure.
And Susan mentioned some of that. You know, who wrote. You know, she acknowledged Gabe for writing "I Am the Moon." She acknowledged Falcon for writing "Circles Around the Sun." She mentioned both of those. You know, a lot of them are collaborative, but you know, who really brought the concept, and Falcon brought the Circles concept to the band.
Yeah, I feel like I should print out like who are the writers of all these songs. I feel like I feel like I should know. I should just information I'm supposed to know, but you know, I know which ones are covers and which ones are originals, so that's
right.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, you know, I just wanted to say that, you know, for the Bonnie Raitt cover at the end, I think that was for Arena, you know, it got delivered beautifully. Like, it was probably exceptional in a theater, particularly some of these beautiful theaters like the Chicago Theater or the Warner or places down in Florida when it was played. But I was a little worried it would be echoey, or she would belt out too much and make it pronounced. But I think it went really well. She didn't go over the top with it, so it was beautifully executed. So
it was. I think we talked about that at the Ryman show, how you could hear a pin drop in that song. And last night, not necessarily you couldn't hear a pin drop, but definitely people respected the beauty of the song, and people stopped talking and they listened.
Right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Should we move on to set 2? Anything else about set 1 here?
40 minutes later, we got what you see on the screen now, which the second one, which, well, I just want to jump in and say, because, again, I have mentioned, you know, seeing a bunch of shows, Brandon's seen a bunch of shows this year, is that it hasn't been maybe as wide of range of songs and they've maybe shortened the sets a little bit. And maybe it was Saturday night. You can see they marked DeGary off of here, but that second set went probably about an hour and 45. And I know they haven't been going that long. I kept saying, wow, I think, because the shows have been a little bit short, about 2:15 or so. And it just kept going. And the crowd was so appreciative. And I was ecstatic how long the second set was last night. That definitely did not go unnoticed. That the band they were working hard. And they went after it for a long time in that second set.
They gave it to us, man.
Yeah. I didn't find the intermission that long, but my wife mentioned that it was long, and I guess with 8,000 people, you got to serve them more beer. So.
I forget with versus sports, like a sporting event, it's very rigid at like a football game. Halftime is this. You go to an opera, you go to a theater show, some of these other events, it's very to a T how long intermission can be. Where I guess with shows like this and like rock concerts and bands, it can be there's a little bit more wiggle room for how long.
Hey, when they bring the energy like they brought in this second set, they can take as long a break as they want, as far as I'm concerned. Because this second set was pure fire. This second set.
Oh yeah. Amen.
I'm gonna bring in another Larry. We got Larry Williams here.
What? Oh, awesome.
Who was also at the show. There he is. I'm so sorry I missed you. Oh man, it's been a long week, Larry.
No worries at all.
Who's got the dogs?
I'm sorry, that's me.
You're the get.
Who let the dogs out? Who let the dogs out?
I can.
I'm mute.
It's all good. So, how you doing, Larry? Too, Larry W.
I'm doing great. Drove back home after the show about an hour and a half. So, but yeah, was thrilled with the show. I was at Knoxville a few weeks ago. So was really, really happy to see him a couple times over a pretty short amount of time. I was thinking they played 9. They repeated 9 songs last night that they played in Knoxville. But I was just thinking, man, there was never a moment where I'm like, oh God, because each song is just a sort of it takes on a life of its own, and so really cool. I'm just now seeing they took DeGary off. Dang.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you heard the first part of the conversation, but that's essentially what was summarized from it, is that not the most surprising set list of songs, but just stellar execution, and just everyone's just so in the moment, the fans and the band.
And I don't know how much y'all might have covered it, but they're with I Am the Moon and Hear My Dear and a couple of the others, Fall In for sure. Those things are growing, man. Like it was Fall In, like Derek's going back in for seconds and thirds, and it's like I'm really enjoying how things are sort of expanding, with their new songs. It's like they're getting comfortable with them as a band, so it's not like the same thing over and over again. Each one is different in a lot of ways. So really enjoying that.
It's just so special, I think, how the band it seems to be on the same page with each other, but also the fans are on the same page with each other, and the fans are on the same page with the band, just because it's pretty much, you're just like, we're all kind of expressing very similar thoughts and opinions, and I think we're all right and all correct with what we're saying for sure, and how we assess where things are with this band. And I keep just saying that they're like in a golden age, it seems like, with the lineup that's set and all this new music that they're so excited to dig in on, and they're still kind of not learning the new songs, but maybe kind of learning the new songs, what they're supposed to sound like on the road to them, where all that exploration is something that they're probably excited to dive into, because there's a lot of stuff that they haven't played a lot of from the I Am the Moon. Obviously they've been leaning on some stuff more than other stuff, but I think it's all gonna it's all coming. There's just
Yeah.
so much. Like what I come back to is because it's like what do I want to hear when I go to a TTB show? I want to hear whatever the thing is that they haven't played in a while.
Right.
That's
Like,
my favorite song. Is just
Yeah.
play the thing you haven't played in a while. Like,
yeah, I'm seeing them on Wednesday. I'm already saying to myself, I want to see everything I didn't see on Saturday.
but
Which is
even if you
for,
saw an
even if
exact
yeah,
set list, it would be amazing, and not
I
even
know
yeah.
Yeah,
it would
yeah.
be
I
amazing.
think in talking to some people, you know, if you're not at the show and you see the set list and you're like, yeah, that's pretty much what what's been going around. But when you're in the room, you're digging every song like it's the first time. I mean, it when you're in the vibe, it's amazing. But sometimes you just look at the list, you're like, yeah, it's kind of what There wasn't something that I'm like, oh gosh, I should have been at that show. I missed whatever, some rarity or whatever. But
Yeah.
everything, like you said, just flawless execution. And to me, it's again going to a number of shows. Each one takes on a life of its own, really, because of the crowd and the way the band reacts to the crowd. I can't emphasize that enough. It's the give and take between the crowd and the band influences the experience of the music. There's just no doubt about it. And I mean, that Take Me As I Am. I mean, Mark Rivers on that, guys. I mean, when Mark gets a chance to shine, I mean, it's just, everybody, you know, takes a good hard listen. I mean, I thought that Take Me As I Am, and that's one I haven't seen that one very many times since the album's come out. But I don't know what you guys thought of that.
I
It
mean,
was great.
yeah, I thought it was fantastic too. I mean, I think they're playing it more now. This second round of shows for the second leg of spring tour. It seems like they've kind of interswapped some songs from the different albums, but that was fantastic. You know, Mark has got the range of almost any vocalist in the group, and you know, when you hear interviews and him speaking, you're like, whoa, that's the same voice. Kind of like Susan. Susan's so soft and sweet, and then she lets out this belt. But Mark's got this amazing range in his voice, and he just delivers like it's a gospel choir. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, there's so much passion and behind when he sings that. He must get really excited get when that makes it on the set list. That's definitely, I mean, that was written for, I don't know the details, but it was written for him, by him, that part. I mean, it's on the album with him, and that's just that's a special song, one of my favorites. I'm always excited and happy to see that appear on any set list, certainly.
That was
Yeah.
actually the only song of the night that I recorded. I was so into the vibe of the room and everything that usually I'll record a couple of songs a night or whatever. That was the only one that I caught, and I can't tell you how many times I've listened back to it, and it still gets me.
Yeah, I keep thinking it's like a Beatles song or a George Harrison song or a Mad Dogs and Englishmen kind of like vibe to it. And even like with those horns at the end, which is just so moving and powerful, like it's got even like a little bit of like 60s soul, Otis Redding kind of a feel to it. I think a little bit too. It's like such a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was excited with, I mean, part of me, we've all probably heard it, dozens of times, but that new thing they've added with Alicia doing some new vocals towards the end of that.
Yeah,
I
she's
had
definitely
heard
taking
it on
charge.
a recording, but I'd never seen that live.
Right.
And
It was awesome.
So she didn't do that in Florida when you saw that song?
No,
Dave?
no, they did not. No, that was added.
So
Maybe, I don't know if they did it in Chicago or DC. I heard it on a recording somewhere, but no, I had not heard her do that live.
So yeah, I think she did it like the Warner maybe for the first time, and they definitely slowed down, all took a look at her, put the spotlight on her, and then she took command. She kind of warmed up to the mic and then just laid in on it, which was great because that's a song that needs something fresh like that, because we've all heard it. It's played almost every Saturday night, and not to take away from Kevy's awesome solo in it, but it's an added layer of goodness, of greatness.
And they'll probably be playing this song a different way, like a year from now, when we hear them do "Part of Me." Someone else will get a vocal solo. Someone else will get it solo. Where Kevy's been doing it for quite a while now. It's just like these songs always just take on new forms, and they always seem like the best form. The when you're whatever you're listening, the current version is the best version in a lot of ways.
Right. I want to point out that the "Ain't That Something" was super funky, and I love Gabe's delivery on that. He's such a showman. He could, when he's singing that song and got the room in full swing, it's almost like he could just take off with just doing his songs, not to take away from the rest of the band, but he really is a showman, and I'm interested one day to go see him live on his own just to see if he has that same energy, because it's pretty amazing how he went from just playing keys and then adding vocal parts to certain songs to now clearly, the show pivots when he gets to the lead. Very much like Mike, when he takes the vocals.
I enjoyed seeing his trio with "On the Wheels of Soul" last year.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I missed that because it was 950 degrees when I went and saw him.
Not just saying it, like his trio is one of my most favorite acts I've ever seen open for TTB. Was his trio. Certainly I think is would be up on near the top of that list. Like, yeah, definitely worth seeing him in any form, I would say.
Yeah, I need to hunt that down.
Yeah, he's bringing the trio to Atlanta in May. We already bought. Ann and I got tickets to see him. He's coming to a small venue here in Atlanta. So really excited to see his band again.
Also,
where's that going to be, David? I'm sorry.
It's something heaven brewery or something. I'm not sure exactly the name. It's on going to be on the west end side of Atlanta.
Okay.
On May, I think is it a Friday, May 12th? Maybe it's a Friday. I don't know where. Larry W., where do you live?
I live in Clemson, South Carolina, so about 2 hours away from Atlanta.
Yep. I know it well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leaving Trunk. I don't know where to look during Leaving Trunk, right? So Susan's solo, is it more fun to watch Susan's solo work or Derek's expressions when Susan's doing the solo? It's like back and forth. Where am I going to look? Derek's expressions when Susan gets after it. It tickles me.
Yeah, for sure. For the audio listeners, this set too was "Playing with My Emotions," "Ain't That Something," "Take Me as I Am," "Part of Me," "Leaving Trunk," "Night in Harlem," "Dumb Somebody Wrong," "Yes We Will," "Bound for Glory," then the encore with "Angels," "Sugary," and "Show Me." Was there a volunteered slavery with "Leaving Trunk" or anything like that?
Yeah,
yes.
there was. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. Also, with "Ain't That Something," to go back to that, it's one of the few songs that starts, I think, on a vocal. So it's like I feel like it almost catches people off guard because it's like boom, you're right into the song, and they always kind of like start like kind of in a way that catches you off guard. But after like 10 seconds, you're like super into the funkiness as you guys were describing of the song.
It's a great follow up with the "Playing with My Emotions" because that's such a that's got a solid classic R&B beat, and just it's something just gets everyone moving and everyone's already tapping, and then Gabe delivers the "Ain't That Something." So those two songs paired together are almost as good as Circles and Passaquan or any of the other two.
Yeah,
we've
I
seen.
totally agree.
I've got to say, I don't know if you have already talked about it, but I'm biased. I'm a drummer, so I'm always watching Falcon, and that guy, like, oh my God, like he is flawless. I mean, and he's changed. Like his role is different, like significantly different than it used to be. Like he's the guy, he's the lead drummer, whereas before it was he and JJ were alternating on a lot, and so alternating on lead basically on a lot, and now it's just straight Falcon leading I think just about everything.
Yeah.
And that's
Derek,
go ahead.
I was gonna say Derek definitely looks back to him to end the
Yeah.
song or to start it. He'll nod to and then
And
he'll do the. They're definitely
yeah.
in sync.
And so that's a lot of pressure on one guy to steer a band through all the nuances of that band has. Like there's so many tricky things about their songwriting and
Mm-hmm.
David, you were talking about who you can't, who you look at. I'm watching Falcon basically the whole time because I'm a drummer, but I just like that guy. He's so graceful and um, understated, I guess, while also just being so powerful and funky. Like the Leaving Trunk is just funky as heck. Um, but man, I'm just when JJ left, my first reaction was, "What are they gonna do?" Um, and it was a downer at the time. But I'm just like, Falcon has become just a whole to me a different drummer, being the lead, full-time lead drummer, and being the guy who, like you said, Larry, that Derek is those little subtle nods and glances, like they're on the same page. Well, actually, I mean, Falcon's watching him the whole time, which I love watching that little interplay and
Yeah.
the communication there because, man, it's so close. Like they're not far. If you mess up one time, it could be a disaster,
Right.
But it
Right.
never is.
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes you feel like, how is Falcon keeping up with Derek? And then sometimes it's like, well, how's Derek keeping up with Falcon?
Yeah.
Right.
It really
Yeah.
goes. I thought it was interesting that Falcon moved over to the seat behind Derek after when JJ left.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like Falcon
Yeah.
Falcon used to be probably more he was the secondary guy, I think. Like JJ probably led more, but it was more of there were plenty of songs that Falcon played lead on in the JJ arrangement. But now Isaac is purely that JMO sort of flourish guy. He's providing the accents and coming in during the real powerful moments, like really, pushing it. But otherwise, it's just sort of he's finding spaces,
Mm-hmm.
and Falcon is driving it, But yeah, you're right. Falcon moving over to the main seat that's been what you talk about this golden age of them. I mean, really big part of that. I mean, they've had to reinvent themselves in so many ways, including that. You lose a powerhouse drummer, and now you have to have a change up there. But it's just been spectacular from Falcon's seat, from my point of view.
I think the Fireside shows really, pushed what you're saying about with Falcon. It pushed him to the. I saw him in Winston Salem, and Beach Mountain with just the Fireside shows, and he was rocking it. But like now he is really pushing. He's the guy, and I love Isaac Eddy, and I love what they're doing. I'm a drummer myself.
Oh, good, cool.
Last night's drum solo was freaking incredible. But yeah, man, Falcon is a powerhouse. He's like he's Butch Trucks, he's doing it.
Y'all might have already seen this, but there's a YouTube video that Gretsch put out.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And they've picked out, like, over the last couple of years, a handful of artists they sponsor, and so they go behind the scenes with each one. And so they went behind the scenes with JJ, with Gary Clark Jr., and they did the same thing with Falcon on one of those Fireside shows. I think it was in like Massachusetts maybe, or New Hampshire, but they played Idle Wind, and they had the camera back on him the whole time.
Yeah.
And that it was just him then, but that just gives you such an appreciation for it's so hard to be a powerful drummer and also to have a light touch dynamically when the situation calls for it, and he goes back and forth. And Idle Wind is one of the classic sort of illustrations of that, because it's light and then it's heavy, But that video, y'all should, if some of y'all haven't seen it, you should look it up, because man, it's just, and when he was by himself, there was more pressure on him to do more, to still have those textures that they had with two drummers. And then the drum solos now are just, I think, Adam, you said it's almost like a conversation, or they're telling a story themselves. Just the dynamics are so cool. I mean, in Knoxville, actually, because they get quiet. They get really quiet during some parts of the drum solos, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some people in Knoxville who were like, I think they came to party and they were kind of uncomfortable with it, so they were like screaming.
I think that was on tape. I remember sometimes there's some screaming when the people
it
don't
was
know what to do.
Uncomfortable. Like we were looking around, going, what's their problem? Like, are they just insecure? Like, can't sit and appreciate a quieter moment? But last night was great. It seemed like the whole audience in Asheville was captivated for the entire time.
It almost seems like when the drummers do take some of those pauses in those quiet moments, it almost seems to me like they're messing with the audience a little bit, and they're kind of like trolling the audience and teasing the audience a little bit and seeing who can kind of like show patience, because obviously they're going to get back into the music and banging on the drums momentarily, but it's kind of like a moment where they're kind of like exhibiting maybe a little bit of power over the crowd and teasing us and having fun with the whole thing. It's kind of, it could be funny in a way, but I did hear some of the fans yelling during some of the quieter moments. I'm like, and in my head I'm like, what's going on right now at this during this show?
Yeah, Asheville is definitely a drumming town, and I think they appreciated, the thunder that was produced during Passaquan. Everyone gave respect while it was duly needed. People were into it.
Yeah.
Usually you get that in the second set, but that's, that was probably what shocked a lot of people too. It's like you got this huge arrangement, 22 minutes in the first set, and the crowd definitely ate it up.
I took a friend of mine up there who's not into Tedeschi trucks at all. He's more of a metalhead. Like, he's a big Slayer, Tool, and Pantera, but he's a fellow drummer. And so a few months ago, he said he was interested in going, and I'm like, all right, I'm taking you. And so I was a little nervous, like, about how he was. Like, I didn't want him to not enjoy the experience and just be sitting there for 3 hours going, God, this sucks, But man, he was captivated the entire time. Like, I think he was more excited than I was. So
awesome. Yeah.
He was just like, this is freaking amazing. Like, he must have said that 10 times. It's really cool.
No one's ever left disappointed.
Yeah.
No.
Regardless of what musical taste you kind of taste you have and what kind of musical background one may come from. It just seems like everyone somehow, it's not surprising, but everyone is able to appreciate the musicianship of this band.
Yeah.
Right. No doubt about it. I mean, there was parts of the show that were slower and then faster. It was definitely an ebb and flow at points, but I don't think they didn't provide for everyone's interests that were sitting in the audience. I mean, you got slow songs, you got fast songs, you got long songs, you got short songs. That's the good thing about a show like this. They are providing entertainment for 8,000 people on all multiple levels. And it's just not one 45-minute jam or 65-minute songs. It's that's a good thing about this band. That's what I love about it.
There's peaks and valleys during their shows, during their sets, during sections of sets, during songs. It's like this multi-layered experience that they provide, multi-layered entertainment experience in some sense.
Right.
Yeah, they're always going somewhere. Like you mentioned, 45-minute song, like, some jam bands out there, Fish, whatever, they're great, but there's the noodling aspect, whereas with TTB, like there's always they're going somewhere.
Yeah.
They're always going to throw something in there, whether it be, one of their soloists, horns, singers, or whatever. There's always going to be something to grab the casual listener to be like, "Whoa, that was cool,"
Right. And I think the Leaving Truck Volunteer Slavery was my favorite part of the show, and it's incredibly captivating when Mike stands up there and just delivers like he does. And then the song, like even the drummers are bringing this funk, and just it's like a tidal wave of like, it's not just catchy, it's captivating. And then to stretch it out and put it into a song like Volunteer Slavery is just, it's spellbinding. And when the vocals start and the harmony starts and you're really taking it all in, and then they bring the tempo up gradually like a volcano which is about to explode, and then it does explode. and it's so powerful. I love it, and I was so excited to hear it because I just played it in New Jersey, and I was terrified that we weren't going to, not that I was expecting it, but I was surprised when they played it.
I also love the typo on the set list. Saturday, January 0, 1900.
Yeah.
This show is in another dimension, in another time. And
the first set had, Adam, the first one had the right date on it, and the second one, I guess, didn't quite make it through the, verification process. Yeah, it was pretty funny on there. When I didn't notice that. I didn't notice it until I got home today, and I was like, "Oh, look at that!"
I'm almost beginning to think this is being done on purpose, and this is just like some kind of joke.
Yeah,
they're getting creative with the typos on the set list a little bit.
Well, we got a treat with Midnight in Harlem, Adam. As you know, some of it have just jumped right into it lately, no intro or anything, and we got a little Martha intro.
Oh,
I was just gonna say that.
Oh my God! I mean,
awesome.
Yeah, that's your second, Brent, right?
Yeah, it's the second time I've seen that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's real cool. That's the first time I saw that for sure. Usually get the long swamp ragtag, but the little Martha was beautiful.
It got the goosebumps going.
Yeah, it did for sure. Absolutely. Oh my gosh,
that was fantastic.
Yeah. The crowd was appreciative. A lot of hoots and hollers. You could tell people were ready to hear it.
After that, I mean, that was phenomenal. And then after that, we got Done Somebody Wrong, which was
right, another fight.
I mean, it's absolutely kicking.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a connection. It's like we're gonna give you an Allman Brothers tease here, and then we're gonna get another little Allman Brothers song after that, and then the bluesy B.B. King inspired songs. It's almost like you can kind of see how they're piecing these songs together and bridging, in a sense, one song to the next. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
No,
probably, but that's the fun part about it. To overthink it.
Speaking of overthinking, have y'all already talked about the presence of Felix Pistorius yesterday? The buzz he posted. This is Jocko's son, also a ridiculously accomplished bassist. He posted on his social media what he's going to be doing the next 5 days, and so he's going to be in, I think, Atlanta or Brevard or somewhere, and then he posts March 25th, Tedeschi Trucks Band in Asheville. And I saw that yesterday morning, and I'm like, oh my God, is he going to be sitting in or an opening? Obviously not an opening act, but I didn't know if any of y'all had heard anything about that. He might have just gone to watch the show or to hang.
Yeah, no, I hadn't heard that at all, Larry.
I've heard that.
That's cool. But I do know our bass player, his parents were in the audience last night.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Brandon's parents were in town for the gig, and we got to visit, and I got to visit with them before the show for a few minutes. We've had the pleasure of meeting them a couple of times, and they're just great people. And they, I guess, had something else going on nearby, and they try to catch their sons in action when they can. And their other son, Robert, plays drums for the Count Basie Orchestra.
Wow.
they've got two real talented
Crazy.
young men for sons.
Are they still in Augusta, David?
They are. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, his brother's a ridiculous drummer, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, isn't he's great? We saw him. He did a local gig. He was in town and with Cody Matlock. I don't know if you know Cody Matlock, great guitarist here in Atlanta. And Robert sat in a place called Blind Willie's. We went a couple of Saturdays ago and got to hear him play again. He is ridiculous.
In fact, before Isaac was named as the replacement for JJ, I was thinking that might be who they get is Brandon's brother because he's that good.
Yes, that thought had crossed my mind as well, Larry. Yes, he is. Yeah, he is that good. But I know he already had another gig, I guess. So, but that would have been cool.
What did y'all think of the acoustics in that room last night? I've been there. I guess it depends on where you're sitting.
Mm-hmm.
I've been up near the roof before, and it's been horrible. Like I saw Widespread Panic there years and years ago, but the last night I was closer to the floor, and it sounded great. I was curious what the acoustics were like for y'all.
I had no complaints. I thought it was good.
Good.
Yeah,
We kind of talked about that, Larry. Everybody, I'd been in that room a couple of times before too, and I thought the sound was great. So, Bobby Tees and the team did a great job, I think, and I thought the sound was great.
Yeah, I agree. I thought I was kind of underneath the stack, so I was getting it full-fledged. It sounded great where I was. No reverb, no echo.
Real clean sound.
Clean sound. Susan's vocals were trajecting, and I think it was a well mixed night. I wasn't up in the top deck, which what can you expect when you're the top of arena? But I've definitely heard worse shows there for sure.
Yeah.
So it's one of those venues that can bring them all. So
it was real clean. Sounded good.
Yeah.
I did get to hear a first from me this year. That last song before the encore. I've been, I think it was my 8th show. It's been on the set list 3 or 4 times, and they've skipped it every time I've been to a show. And I finally got my Bound for Glory this year. Finally got my first one of the year. And wow, I don't know. That takes me to church every time I hear it. I don't dance well, but I certainly get my moves on as bad as they are.
It lifted the roof off the place, man.
It was great.
Everybody was into that one.
Yeah. It was one of those great closers, and the intro is for it. You get to hear the organs play, and you know exactly what it's going to be. And when I heard that, I knew, David, you were going to be happy.
I was like, I know we had talked about it before. I told Larry we were having some beers. I said, gosh, man, I got to get my Bound for Glory fixed. It's been too long. And well, you said when Gabe goes into the organ and everything, you're like, oh, thank God I'm getting it tonight,
Right.
Like, what T-shirt did you guys wear? What shirts did you and Ann wear last night? Did you?
We just had. I wanted to wear a short sleeve. She wanted to wear the long. So it was nothing that was played.
Me too.
I could have worn my Bound for Glory shirt, but Derek's been skunking me all year, so I didn't want to jinx it.
I got a compliment on my T-shirt. One guy actually got 2 comments. One guy said, "I thought I'd never see a Sweet and Low shirt." And another guy goes, "Why do you support Sweet and Low? That's terrible. That's not real sugar."
Yeah. Went right over his head, right?
Way over his head. Yeah. So I love Sweet and Low.
Yeah, it was a great shirt, Larry. Loved it.
Yeah. And so I ordered a Sweet and Low shirt from, tshirts.com or whatever. And that's not a plug by any means, but
that's
pretty
funny.
fun.
Yeah.
That's funny. I always joke around how they played Sweet.
The logo right there.
Did you ever hear?
Sweet and Low?
It's a TTB song from their first album that's just very rarely played. It's a very kind of soft ballad song.
Oh, nice.
That's rare. It's a great. It actually
songs.
is a great song, but they very rarely play it live. And I did actually see them play it live, and they played something really upbeat before it, and I was still standing. I'm like, I'll stand for Sweet and Low. I'm gonna stand.
Yeah.
But even everyone, like pretty much everyone, kind of did sit down for Sweet and Low. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll sit down for Sweet and Low too. But I stand for Sweet and Low, and Larry
mean,
Larry One takes it to the next level. Goes out and
Yeah.
gets a T-shirt to
Shirt,
support
yeah.
the obscure
Love
song.
it's
Love
in my washing machine right now. Gonna get ready for Wednesdays. My goal is to get as close to the stage as I can and wear that shirt again. See if they'll play it.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun show. That's it's kind of a festival in Savannah, Georgia. That should be a lot of fun, Larry.
Yeah, my goal. I'm hoping that it's a general admission show, like all of it. They don't block the front end with VIP BS, but we'll see what happens. Regardless, I know it's gonna be fantastic. The weather's supposed to be sunny and 65 degrees.
Nice.
I'm excited.
I think David has had some success, and Ann has had some success with the T-shirts, influencing set lists. So you might not. I wouldn't guarantee a Sweet and Low, but it might help. It could help.
Yeah.
If it does, it'll
As
just be
my
that.
old Jewish grandmother would say, Adam, it couldn't hurt.
Right. I think my grandmothers has said. My old Jewish grandmothers have said the same.
Have any of y'all? I'm sorry. Go ahead, David.
No, go ahead, Larry.
I'm gonna say, are any of y'all going to Durham, and have any of y'all been to that venue before?
I'm a no and a no.
I'm a no and a no. I'm sure it's a performing arts center. I'm sure it's very nice. Durham's one of those classy towns that
I've heard wonderful things about that room. I would love to go see them there. Like, it's just first class all the way.
Yeah, that would make sense to me. Raleigh Durham's got a ton of money, so they've got. I imagine it's a very nice venue.
Yeah.
Is it? It's not on the campus of Duke, is it?
I don't believe it is.
No.
I could be wrong though.
Yeah. Well, Ann and I are heading to Chicago for the 2 shows next weekend, and I've heard great things about the Chicago theater. We've never experienced TTB there, so very excited to check out a new venue.
Yeah.
What number shows is that? We're up to 80 something, 90 something.
Last night was 93.
Wow.
My goal is to hit 100 at the Fox this summer, Adam. Number 100 should be at the Fox this summer in Atlanta. That's
very cool.
That's my goal. So we'll see if we make it happen or not.
You're gonna get there regardless of where it is. What about Angel and Sugary and Show Me Encore? Any thoughts on those?
I don't know. I've never heard Angel as an encore before. Maybe one of you guys have, but I don't think I'd ever heard it in that slot before.
No.
I would have to go back and look, but I'm sure it's been played like that before, but it's been a while. It's been a little minute. That was an Easter egg for me. I wasn't expecting that at all. That came out of left field. I was expecting the Show Me because we talked about how that's been the go-to. I was expecting maybe I don't know, La-Di Da or something like that, and then Show Me. But I was super excited when she came out with just Brandon and Gabe and one drummer, right? Just Falcon.
That was really weird because Larry and I talked about Show Me as a go-to, and they come out for the encore and it's not the full band.
Right.
And I'm like, not sure where they're going with this.
Right.
And the crowd was singing along with. I mean, it was. I mean, again. I said before, Larry Dove, before you got on, I thought this second set was complete fire last night. What a second set.
Amen.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm sure Show Me was ridiculous and just
Mark
tears
gets
the
up
place
there
down.
clapping, getting everybody going. He comes up to the front. We already talked about how great Mark is, and he love to see him get some more time up in the front. It's beautiful to see.
Right.
Because his energy is infectious.
Well, Elizabeth had a really nice solo in something too. I mean, obviously before
and leaving trunk.
That's right.
Yeah.
She killed it. She had a really good time. And Ephraim had a wonderful solo in Show Me. I wish he has more play in certain songs, but that's just me being selfish, I guess. But they got to do round robin with so many people. But he had a very nice solo, extended solo in Show Me, which was great. And, I feel like everyone had a really good turn last night at one song or another.
I always
Well,
feel that way when I leave a show that I got enough of everyone. Actually, you always feel like you want more of everyone. You want of everyone, which doesn't even. I guess that makes sense, but yeah, that's how you know you've done good. If you want more of everyone, not that you feel like you've got enough of everyone, it's that you want more of everyone. That's
Right.
that's the sign.
To Larry's point earlier, I mean, they've been traveling. I mean, they've been covering some ground, and the amount of energy that they had, in Asheville on Saturday night, you would have thought they were well rested, and they're anything but, anything but well rested. But they gave their 100%, and that always blows me away. So my hats off to them as always.
Yeah. I
Cool.
don't think it's possible for them not to. I think Derek's just, he's a lifer, as they call it, as he calls it himself in interviews. He and Susan, they're lifers. They're going to do it forever. And they expect what Butch Trucks instilled in his head, that you are going to give 110% every time, regardless. And it's just ingrained in their DNA and part of their vocabulary. And, I'm sure there's off nights for them, but for us fans, we'll never know. They may not play every song that we want to hear, but there's never been an off night that I'm aware of. Unless there's like technical issues or the rain comes down or something like that.
You guys, I think, have way more depth of experience than I do listening to this band, but I feel like I pay pretty close attention in the last few years. I've been watching them closely, and the only sort of random times that are less than perfect, or maybe when Susan misses a lyric or something on Anyhow, comes in late or something, and then they just laugh and keep going. But that's it's hard to find a flaw in this band, and given the complex nature of their songs with so many different nuances, man, that's hard to do. I don't think it's hard to, if you're mailing it in, you're not going to just nail the whole catalog to the extent that they're nailing it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for other bands that I listen to, Dead Fish, all that stuff, Wisebread, I mean, every one of them has tenures of their career that aren't very good. I mean, 2 or 3 years go by, and there's peaks and valleys like we've talked about, but it's, TTB is just right off to the charts, and it's incredible what they can endure with losing members, and people leaving, coming, and adding new, styles and influences. Like I said about Gabe, like I think he has elevated the music in a different direction, in a way it's just not like, oh, it sounds like there's more drumming or there's more guitar work. His clearly is bringing this like vocalized, like, I don't want to cliche it, but like a showmanship. Like he's bringing this energy he's coupling the energy which has already been there forever, but he's bringing it to another dimension. I don't know. That's just me, but I think it's fantastic.
And these guys, like you mentioned, some of the other bands, Fish, Widespread, The Dead, or I would not even put this band in the jam band category.
Right.
And not that jam band is a a negative term. Everything's choreographed. Like they're putting on a damn show, Like, I mean, it's like very structured, which is what I love, because that demands so much precision. It's not like you're just like, all right, we're gonna have this space right here in this song where we'll figure it out. No, that's not.
Right.
I mean, it's conducted, so
It's
precise.
a narrative.
Yeah.
It's a narrative.
Derek's figured it out in the rehearsal room.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he demands it. He demands that they rehearse.
Absolutely.
He's not going to have anyone up there with sloppy dice. I mean, it's not going to happen. I mean, that's why he's probably very selective. Of each person has probably gone through a rigorous training and, to get to the point to where they are, and then to be able to perform like that. I agree with you, Larry, 100%. It's not a jam band. It's just what America's best rock and roll band. Is that what they have on their queue?
Like you were saying, well, like put them in a cat. I don't put anybody else in their category.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. I'm not trying to fit them into somebody else's category. Somebody's got to live up to their category, and I don't see it. I just don't. I don't see it anywhere else.
But hey, it's like Greg Allman said about the Allman Brothers. They're not a jam band, but they're a band that jams.
There you go.
Right.
Well said. Well said.
Cool. Well, I appreciate everyone's time. I know it's later for most of you guys, and some of you guys are exhausted from traveling. What did you, David?
Drinking.
You said you're going to Chicago. But what is everybody's next? Do you guys have any other shows, TTB shows coming up?
I'm broke. I can't go to anymore.
They have all your money already.
I'm counting down the hours, Adam. Yeah, you did.
Yes, had a good run.
Would you say, Larry?
I'm counting down the hours. I got Wednesday, 8 o'clock. So.
Oh, so you're at not
Savannah.
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 Yeah, I got 72 hours, right? 3 days.
Larry and Renfro, where do y'all live?
I'm in
Somerville.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Somerville. Oh, cool.
Kingsport.
Yeah.
Kingsport, Tennessee. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you Low Country, Larry. Very cool.
Yeah. I want to ask you, Larry Williams. You were at the Knoxville show, correct?
Yep.
So I felt a total different vibe in the audience at the Knoxville show.
Yeah.
Asheville.
Definitely.
Like there was hardly anybody dancing at Knoxville, and everybody was dancing in Asheville.
Yeah.
Well, you might have stepped away, Renfro, but we were talking about the drums in Knoxville when they got real quiet, and people were literally screaming across the floor at each other, like they weren't even in the same group. There was one guy who goes, "With a rebel yell," and so then that starts this whole drunk just screaming, and I'm like, I've never experienced this. Like,
I missed that.
That's American audiences. I forget who I spoke to about European audiences. It's a whole different. I think it was Kebby was talking about European audiences, and Alina Harmash was talking about European audiences. It's just a little bit of a different vibe versus American audiences.
Yeah, a little more respect, huh?
Right. Renfro.
Yeah, I guess so.
I was gonna say Renfro also in Knoxville. I didn't think the sound was. There was no low end where I was sitting. We were sitting in the second row of the balcony, and it was just thin. Like I couldn't feel. I want to be able to feel Brandon and the drummers in my rib cage, and I couldn't feel it that night. Mm-hmm. How about you? Where were you sitting?
I was about 6 rows from the stage, and it was okay, but the sound was there wasn't a whole lot of low end. Like
okay, so the same for you, even though you were way up front. Okay.
I don't like that room. There was when the last time they played Knoxville, they were at the Tennessee Theater.
I was gonna say that's the best venue there.
Yeah, it's a shame they were not at Tennessee Theater. God, what a great
venue is so good.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful theater.
I've went to other concerts at the Civic Center there, and it's the sound is not that great there, but I guess they've grown bigger than the Tennessee Theater.
It's there was just this element. I mean, we had a great time in Knoxville, but there was a strange sort of undercurrent the whole time. Like we go in, and for their beer, they only had light beer. It's like, you don't have have you ever heard of IPA? And they're like,
hey, Larry, that's why you had no low end. They didn't have any, they didn't have any body, man. It was all light. It was music light beer, music light,
And that's awesome, David. That's hilarious. and then afterward, we go downtown and we go into this bar that has this killer band playing. I mean, they were just ridiculous. But we sit down and we order a beer, and then we look down at our table and there's an ashtray. There's an ashtray sitting there, and we're like, "What the hell is this?" And we look around. It's a smoking bar, like indoors.
Oh indoors, yeah.
I hadn't experienced that since it's been a long time, 20 years.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Larry, I guess Knoxville won't be on your list for the next tour.
Nothing against Knoxville. Again, not bad, just different, just a little strange.
Yeah.
Asheville is cool.
Hey,
Dirty South.
Come to the Ryman in Nashville instead, Larry. You'll have a much better time.
That's at the top of my bucket list, man.
There you go.
Yeah.
Nobody was sitting down at the Ryman. Nobody.
Yeah, that sounds like that's real church. Anything else you guys want to mention about the show or any other comments? I don't want to take up too much more of your time.
Hey, Adam, thanks
What's
for
up?
letting us old music lovers hang out and chat with you and chat amongst ourselves. You
Oh,
give
this
us
is-
a forum to have fun. We love it.
No, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, and this is so much fun for me. And it makes it less work for me. I just let you guys go, and you guys just talk about the show, and I just listen, and I love getting the different perspectives. And like how the band has two drummers, I get two drummers here on my show right here to talk about. I know Larry, I think you play a little guitar also, so you have a little bit of musical background. And David, you're a professional music goer, a professional concert goer, professional TTB fan, essentially, for lack of a better term. So to get all these different perspectives is cool, and it makes it fun for me. Like, and that's another thing to look forward to with these like panels, is that like I'm gonna get these different guests who come from, and fans, mostly fans. Who come from all different backgrounds and walks of life, and may or may not have musical influence, or come from wherever they come from. Is just it gives the conversation a good feel and makes it fun.
You can't give us too much rope here, Adam. With 4 Southern gentlemen, we'll sit here and talk the paint off the walls.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of
That's one thing that I do have to be aware of, that I'm realizing and learning, is that I have to herd everyone and play point guard a little bit more and try and maintain some control, because it's less work for me, but I do have to make sure that the train stays on the track some degree with more guests. But yeah, I think I can get up to like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people in here. So who knows? Maybe next one we can talk more about this.
Well, you better get control of the show here, like Derek gets control of his band.
Right. I'll have to mute you guys.
Yeah. He was trying to nod, and it wouldn't work with us.
Yeah.
I am establishing some ground rules. It's because when I ask us kind of a survey question, I have been going clockwise is kind of my system.
Great,
so
Larry.
maybe that'll keep everyone will know that moving forward. Like when I ask a general question, we'll go clockwise around the room. Larry, would you want to come on again later in the week, maybe Thursday, and recap Savannah? We can talk about that, and maybe even get other people on, and maybe even get someone else from the from that show or the Durham show before. We'll see. Definitely, I'll plan to do a Chicago thing. I'll probably be bothering you, David, about that. We'll get something cooking for Chicago. I think the shows are Friday and Saturday, right?
Chicago, yes, Friday, Saturday. Yep.
So if you're down, we can shoot for next Sunday, same time, same channel. If you're down, and we'll go from there. Is there anything anybody wanted to plug or promote, or one more chance to mention anything else?
Hey, again, we want to plug Asheville. Great town. Go visit Asheville. It's a lot
especially
of fun.
if you like beer.
Yeah, and they won't serve you light beer, Larry W. No light beer and no light beer in Asheville.
Yeah, they don't let Bud Light in the entire town. So.
Hey, this is for you, Larry. If you're in the Low Country, I'm in a band. We're playing the Poorhouse in July. So if you're going to be around,
okay,
I can let you know. It's called the Grateful Brothers, and the whole concept is Dead and Almonds.
Okay,
So,
well, you guys came like a month ago, right? Or a month and a half ago? Yeah, I couldn't make it. I wanted to, but I've got kids and selected. So if you play on a weekend, I can make it happen.
Yeah, that's a long way from Somerville. But I think let me. Anyway, I'm sure we'll chat again. But I'll just put it on your radar.
Yeah, Poorhouse is a great venue. Great venue.
Great venue.
It's incredible. Yeah. It's the best. Like they're first class in every way.
That's good.
So yeah, I always love. We sold it out. We had 504 people in there.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That's pretty cool
that's great.
A bunch of guys who have day jobs and live 4 hours away. So
yeah, Well,
Okay.
I'll put it on my calendar. If it's already on the Poorhouse's calendar, I'll look it up and see if
Okay.
it's a night I can make it. I'd love to.
Okay, awesome, man. I'm sure hopefully we'll communicate between now and then.
Good
Sure.
stuff. Good stuff.
Absolutely.
Larry's plural. What you got, David?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say thank you so much, Adam. Well, you've given us a lot of time here. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh,
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys. Anything else, Brandon? Did you want to
Hey,
mention?
I wanted to tell David, sorry I missed you last night. I'd love to run into you. It's good to talk to you tonight. And thank
Yeah.
you, Adam. And nice to meet you, Larry Williams. And
Yeah,
Larry.
got to.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Brandon.
Sorry we missed each other, Brandon. Sorry we
Yeah.
missed each other, but it's good to see you at the Ryman. And
Yeah.
Right.
Larry, it's great to have a beer and hang with you and Sarah yesterday.
That was fantastic. Well, definitely, it's good to see you and Ann too. So nice to see friendly people and fans. And thanks again to Adam for hosting
Yeah,
us again
thank you,
here
Eric.
tonight. Mhm.
Of course, guys. I'll do my little outro, and if you want to hang out for a minute after, we can chat a little bit more. But other than that, thank you again, and let's talk soon for sure. Take care, guys.
See you
Cheers.
guys. Be
Later.
safe.
So there you go, episode 111, recapping TTB in Asheville. That was super fun chatting with Larry, David, Brandon. Yeah, I enjoy doing these panels. Less work for me, but yeah, I got to keep the trains on the track for sure. But yeah, I feel like I was at the show essentially, and I haven't even really listened to it. And I'm probably gonna throw my other responsibilities to the side for the rest of this evening, or for some portion of it, and dive back into listening to it. But I hope everyone is doing okay out there. For everything about this show, head to at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Please follow there. Subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. I'll definitely be putting out an audio version of this episode. Positive reviews on Apple Podcasts are appreciated. At Tedeschi Trucks Podcast is the YouTube channel. Please subscribe. I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram and Twitter. AdamChoit.com for all things related to everything I'm working on. TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com for everything about the podcast. TedeschiTrucksBand.com is their official website. Please buy tickets, merch, join the fan club, the Swamp Family. Lots of good stuff on that website for sure. I will be aiming to do a Chicago recap probably on Sunday to recap those shows. Was it March, the last day of March and the first day of April? Maybe another one this week doing, Durham or Savannah? But just look out for posts about that stuff. I'm sure I'll keep everyone posted, but I think that's about all I got for today. Thank you for listening. I appreciate the support. This has been super fun. If you're going to any upcoming shows, if you're a fan, definitely reach out. And if you can talk about music and you don't have an extensive criminal record, I'm happy to have you on to recap shows. It's been super fun to connect with more and more fans and reconnect and connect fans to each other, apparently. So, yeah, I'm going to try to keep that going and do my best to keep up with the band. I can't even keep up with them myself, but I appreciate the band. I appreciate all the music, the tapers, and the crew. I should make a note to thank the crew and thank the band in every episode. That's probably a good idea. Writing that down right now as we speak. But yeah, I'll let you guys all enjoy the rest of your evening or day, wherever you may be. And let's talk soon. Peace.